Helen Vaudrin gets a little touch-up from her daughter, and she smiles a youthful smile and starts moving. She only started using a walker last month. Her son and her daughter and her grandson walk alongside on this special day. This wasn't a trip that Helen dreamed of. This was no bucket list item. The truth is, she never really gave it much thought. She didn't know this was even possible. That's Helen in 1941, just 20 years old, with her baby Barbara on her hip. Barbara is all grown up now.
My mom has always been a strong woman, strong.
She lived in Akron, Ohio. There was a war going on, and with the men over fighting, who was going to work in the factories? Who was going to build the machines that would win the war? There wasn't enough manpower, so America tried something new, woman power.
Was that a new thing, women going out and working?
Oh, yes, that was a very, that's took the women out of the kitchen. That's when women went out of the house. Before that, women were housewives.
Women took over jobs traditionally held by men: drill press operators, machinists, welders. They built bombs and tanks and airplanes. There came to be a term for all the women who went to work during the war. They were called Rosie the Riveters. A poster celebrated Rosie and a hit song. It might as well have been written about Helen Vaudrin.
She's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the riveter, keeps the shop.
So tell me what your job was.
It was riveting and drilling, and we worked on the fuselage. Women want to go out and work and earn their money the same as men.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I'm glad I did.
Are you proud of that?
Yes, I am.
At the Goodyear factory in Akron, she popped rivets into Corsairs, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, none of which was really talked about until recently, according to her son Joe Vaudrin.
I didn't hear much about it until more recently. Her 90th birthday is where it first started really coming up.
And after the war, she had the rest of her 7 children and worked as a waitress and lost her husband Lyman to a heart attack 52 years ago.
I'm 100.
You're 100.
Yeah, I was 100 on December the 15th.
Helen has a grandson who is in the Air Force in Ohio.
I was like, okay, I'm going to find out what she actually worked on, because she didn't know.
And John Stefanov went to work. He found out that they made FG-1D Corsairs in the Goodyear plant, and Helen had to have worked on those, some of the best fighter planes in the war. And towards the end of the war, the plant also made the F-2G1 Corsair. It was an amazing plane, but the war was winding down, and so they only made 10 of them.
The Boeing Museum had 2. I was like, wow, they have an FG-1D and an F-2G.
In the riveting story of Helen Vaudrin's riveting career, she almost certainly helped build all 10 of the F-2G1s. And so, almost 80 years later, a lifetime, Helen came to the Boeing Museum of Flight's Restoration Center to see this one. She circled around it at a distance, uncertain perhaps of what she was supposed to be feeling.
Beautiful plane.
Before long, she was up close, reaching back through the haze of time. Is that where you would have been working, Helen?
So, on this bottom of the plane. Oh, so long ago.
You never saw the complete plane when it was finished, did you?
Oh, no. No, I never saw the complete plane. It just went down the line.
And then something wonderful. She reached out and touched the F-2G1, sliding her hand across the fuselage, feeling for the rivets that she put in, wanting to touch her contribution to this beautiful machine that, like Helen herself, has endured over time. Women never did go back to the kitchen completely. They'd tasted something during the war, independence, a changed sense of worth, and they liked it and ultimately demanded it. Rosie the Riveter wasn't a person, it was an idea, and the idea changed the world.
Well, I feel like I accomplished something. He helped make America win the war.
How about that?
Yeah, yeah, every drill and every buck had something towards winning the war, yeah.
Sitting there at the museum, the Corsair, shiny and gorgeous, will certainly last longer than Helen will. But this centenarian, this riveter, this pioneer will give it a run for its money. And the riveting story of Helen Vaudrin and the thousands of women like her, the Rosies who answered the call and helped win the war and inspired a social movement, the story will live forever.
Yeah, you should have.